Knowing is half the battle.
You know what you gotta do. Do it. Do it.
Hi, good brothers and good sisters. I'm joined by my buddy here, my husky pal Blondie, for today's Real Talk. You might be howling a little bit during this little chat. I like to, every once in a while on this channel, just sit down and do a little chat, a Real Talk on maybe not necessarily current events, actually quite the opposite, non-current events, events that are just continuously going on every single day and that have been going on for quite a while, and how to deal with them. We as collectors in this community have figured out a really wonderful way to deal with a lot of the unpleasant stuff that's going on in the world and has been going on for a very long time. We really revel in our heroes, the toy artistry that represents all of these really amazing characters and the amazing things that they can do. And hopefully a lot of people are still being able to enjoy their passions through what's going on in the world today. So I just wanted to talk quickly today about how to deal with what's going on, who is able to deal with it well, and maybe who isn't able to deal with it. I think the people who are able to deal with this the best are the people who have been dealing with a lot of things over the last couple of years, or maybe even decades. It doesn't feel like a great adrenaline rush. It doesn't feel like, yes, I'm owning this situation, I'm conquering it. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's not very glorious or dramatic. It just feels like another day at the office. And I think the people who are able to be at that point, who can deal with a lot of surprises, a lot of ups and downs, the roller coaster thrill ride that can be life on this planet. I think the people who are at that point, the best of us, I'm talking about our law enforcement, our military, Navy, our masters, our gurus, our really wise leaders. I think they all have a responsibility to try to help the people who aren't dealing with it as well. And the best way to deal with any difficulty in your life, whether it's something happening to you this week or something that happens to you in 6 months or in 6 years, it's training. And again, it's not glamorous, it's not glorious. We all enjoy TV shows and movies and comic books. They're all very entertaining and thrilling. But it's important to recognize the difference between thrills and reality. Reality is not thrills. Reality is training every single day, sometimes every single hour, sometimes every single minute. Hello, Blondie. Blondie's ready to do some playing. And it's that constant daily training that will allow you to wake up in the morning, and when so many other people, that's right, are having a lot of difficulty and flipping out, it's that training that will help you feel like time to go to work. It's another day at the office. Blondie is having lots of fun because his training every single day is having fun. He plays with all of his stuffed toys, his rubber toys, his balls that he has over here. And that's what he did yesterday, that's what he did 10 days ago, and that's what he'll do tomorrow and for the foreseeable future. And he has trained me to take his green pig and throw it so that he could catch it and retrieve it. So just to tie this into what's in my regular wheelhouse here, there's an old expression that a lot of you are familiar with: knowing is half the battle. And a lot of people over the years have asked, well, what's the other half of the battle? And contrary to popular belief, the other half of the battle is not blue and red lasers or any other funny memes. The other half of the battle is doing. Knowing is half the battle. Doing is the other half of the battle. And you have to do the things that you know you have to do. And that doesn't just apply to what's going on in the world today. That applied to your life last week, last month, last year, 5 years ago, 20 years ago if you were alive, 40 years ago. You have to do that training every single day. It's something that's made all the difference in the world to me, because when I got injured back in 2006, my life drastically changed. Being in your early 30s and not being able to use your left arm is a huge adjustment when so many other young, healthy people are just living out their prime, and you're not able to use one of your limbs properly. Add on top of that all of the other stressors that I had to deal with. The people who should have done right by me didn't, where I was injured. And that was a lot of challenge to go through. And what carried me through was daily training, constant daily training, both physical as well as mental. I've had ups and downs where if I didn't do my physiotherapy for a while because everything else was getting me far too down, then not only did I physically suffer, I mentally suffered too. And it was only when I made the effort every single day to do that physiotherapy as much as I could, not the goal that I set, but my actual limits, and learn my limits. That's when attitudes started to change. So for the folks that are stuck in their house, they're not allowed to go out, try to think of it from a different perspective. Don't think of it as being stuck. Always try to look on the positive side of it, the bright side of it, because there is not just a silver lining, but there is a flip side, a positive side to everything. And I can tell you, since this has happened, I have never been able to do one of these real talks in my backyard with you here, because it's just too noisy here. I'm far away from a highway, and the highway is really, really loud here, extremely loud. Traffic on the road next to my house, it used to be a very quiet road, and now it's like one of the busiest streets in town. It's just constant. They've allowed buses to go up and down. The sound outside has completely changed from a nice quiet neighborhood, in my neighborhood, to it feels like downtown of a major city, even though it still looks like a nice quiet neighborhood. So many of our sleeps over the last couple of years have been interrupted by some inconsiderate people across the street who have multiple vehicles that are much louder than they need to be. They're the type of people who, they're attention seekers. They like to rev the engine. They like to leave trucks and cars. They've souped up their cars to have those really loud mufflers. They let them idle for a long time. They come and go at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and they have absolutely no consideration for anyone around them. And Luana and I have been able to get some good night's sleeps because they're not allowed to go out and just come and go as they please anymore because of everything that's going on in the world. So there are a lot of flip sides, a lot of positives, and you have to be courageous enough. You have to be daring enough to look at the bright side. You have to ignore the people who go hands on the hips and go, how can you talk about the positives in such a dire situation? Be careful about those people who try to discourage you from being optimistic and positive and trying to help yourself as well as help others. They are no help to you. They are no help to others. You do not have to engage in debate. There is nothing to win. There's nothing to enlighten. Those people are broken. They are lost. And there's nothing, they're drowning victims. There's nothing you can do to help them. All you can do is get pulled down by them as well. Walk on, spend your valuable time, your precious time on the people of value. Do those little things every single day in order to keep your spirits up, keep your mind sharp and happy. Enjoy the things that you enjoy. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anything steal your joy. And that's an absolute statement. There are no exceptions. It's not, don't let anyone steal your joy, except for this big thing that's going on. Don't let anything steal your joy. So continue to enjoy the things you love. And remember, go back and remember why you fell in love with them in the first place. Was it because it's a cool looking toy or a cool looking vehicle? Or did something about it really speak to your spirit? Not just your brain, but your heart too. Did something resonate with you and say, that I got that somewhere in here. The Batman or Superman or Wolverine or Optimus Prime or Duke, any of those characters, Lion-O, something about that really speaks to my soul, and you can be one of those heroes that rises to the occasion. But also keep in mind that we don't normally rise to the occasion. It's our training that keeps us at the level that we need to be prepared for things like this. So I'll share a few tips of things that I've been doing, and it's not just things I've been doing over the past week. I've been doing this for the past 3 years, because for 3 years I've been working from home. Thanks completely and totally to all of you folks. A few years ago I did a video and I explained my situation. It was a really difficult situation and I didn't really want to share, but it's better to be open and honest. And the response I got was so inspiring. It was so uplifting. Hello, little squirrel or chipmunk behind me. It's the reason why I'm able to do the things I'm able to do, because of everyone out there who is watching right now. The folks who had joined the Patreon tribe and keep this channel running on Patreon power, all of the generous people who provide super chats during the live streams. Not that I'm ever asking for a super chat. I'm not fishing for super chats, but I am. It is important to take a moment and say thank you to everyone who did that. You didn't have to do that, but I'm so glad you did. Everyone who sent a gift box or a gift package, not because they wanted publicity or anything like that, but because they felt like they got something and they wanted to give something back. And the same thing with me. I am so appreciative and have so much thankfulness for people who do that. I want to record that experience so that they can experience it too, and so that I can experience it again down the road, and all of you can too. That's how you create a community, and that's how you maintain a community, by having us being able to enjoy all these things all together. So some of the things that I do on a daily basis, have for years now, and continue to do. Sunshine is important. I've said it several times. You're going to hear me repeat myself for the folks who have sat through some of my other real talks, but sunshine is important. Not actual direct contact with sunlight. I'm talking about sit on a porch where the sun is shining in front of you. You don't have to sit there and get scorched by the sun. Sit on a porch or pull up a chair somewhere outside or on a balcony. Whatever you can do, get some fresh air, listen to some of nature if you can. Luckily right now, a lot of places on the planet, we can actually hear nature again over all of the traffic. And just read something, or sit there and meditate, or do some yoga. Yoga is another huge one. And yoga is something that's been a real evolution for me, because I went from the first time I ever did DDP yoga, I couldn't raise my arm. And so that was a really empowering situation for me, doing yoga with one arm doing this and that, and the other arm at my side. And Diamond Dallas Page does a lot of modifications. He's very understanding with physical restrictions. And so he always has these modifiers. If you can't do it, that's fine. Try it like this. I couldn't do his easiest modifications because I couldn't raise my arm. But I worked at it. I kept at it. I kept trying every single day. I did the training and I improved. Not back to 100%, never will. That's how permanent injuries work. They unfortunately never get back to 100%, but it's more manageable. It's easier to manage the pain than it was before I made that effort. So that's another thing you need to do. Something physical. You have to find what your physical limitation is, and you have to do it. If you're a person who never does anything physical, try it and see what an astounding difference it makes on your life. I guarantee you it will, because I was the same way when I was younger. I never did anything physical. I wasn't an athlete. It makes all the difference, and you can see the difference month to month. If you take a month off and then another month you move around, even just go for walks, do some squats, something, it makes a huge difference on your attitude towards life. Sometimes all the reading in the world, all the TV watching, and all the staring at heroes in the world isn't going to help you. Sometimes you got to get up and you got to move. So that's another very important thing. Your diet, and diet is a horrible word for a lot of people, I understand that. So think of it more as, what are you consuming? Because you are what you consume. If you're eating sugar, that's not going to help you. Sugar is delicious and it's fun, but especially in these times when the whole world is dealing with the same thing, sugar's not going to help you. It's going to bring you up very fast, and it's going to make you crash very fast. So be smart. If you're lucky enough to have some good, clean, natural foods, fruits and vegetables, go with that. It's good to read labels and make sure you're not consuming too many of those long multi-syllable chemicals that you can't pronounce. But a lot of people don't have that luxury at the moment. But just try to give a thought about what you're eating, because it will. And take a moment to think about the effect. It's not just eating. Don't just eat and go and do something else. Eat and be mindful of it. When you begin, don't have distractions. Don't watch TV or look at your phone while you're eating. Eat, chew thoroughly, and actually contemplate what you're eating and what effect it's going to have on you. That will change the way you think as well. It'll make you more mindful about what you're eating and the effect it has. And so that will also lead to another type of mindfulness. It'll make you be mindful of the other things you're consuming in your life and the effect they're having on you. And the other things you consume are the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the comics you read. You got to stay away from the dark stuff. It's not going to help you. The darkness, the death, the despair. I've said it a lot on my channel. A lot of the current stuff has this, the music is raw, it's so dire, and the plot device that carries so many stories forward is death. Who's going to die next? Oh, he died. She died next. Is he going to die? Oh, they died. It's a weak plot device. I didn't see it happening a lot in previous days, 80s and before. Death wasn't the driving force. Other things were the driving force in stories. And so you got to stay away from that stuff, because there's enough of that outside your door. I strongly believed in this message months ago, before any of this happened. It's important to surround yourself with good, positive messages. A good story needs to have some conflict in it, but the threat can't just be death, and the winning scenario can't just be life. It needs to be more than that. It needs to be quality of life. It needs to be passion. It needs to be joy. There's Tubi is out there, and as of right now, I think all of the classic cartoons are still on there for free. G.I. Joe Transformers are on there. Brave Star is a fantastic cartoon, especially if you have kids, to watch with your kids. Amazing morals in there, every single episode. Great music, beautiful animation. She-Ra, He-Man, really good soul food. So if you're having a tough time going through this stuff, you might be lacking nourishment. And that is food nourishment, but it's also spirit nourishment. And you're not going to get it from stuff that's darkly lit with dark, ominous music. Take a second to really contemplate what you're watching. Just like if you contemplate how you're eating your food and what you're eating, contemplate what you're watching. Take a closer look. I have the advantage of having some experience with, movies and film, the writing of them, the editing of them, the lighting of them, and I'm able to kind of look behind the surface and see how they're made, and I can see what the point is. And most of the stuff I see these days, the point is not inspiration. It's not love. It's the opposite. So try to just take a closer look at stuff and see what is the intention. And if you get the sense that the intention is not something that will put you in a better mood, in a better spirit, you need to turn that off, and you need to find stuff, usually from your past, that had a different effect and put you in a more positive mindset. So knowing is half the battle, and doing is the other half of the battle, and you need to do it every single day. So get up in the morning. Don't do the things that aren't going to help you. Don't look at the news. Don't hunt for bad news. Don't nurture your fear. Nurture your strength. Nurture your spirit. And also help your friends. Reach out to people. Ask them how they're doing. I've been doing quite a few live streams in the past week, more than I normally do, and that's to be there for you. Because all those years ago, when I turned the camera on and I said, look, this really isn't my cup of tea, but I'm going to explain to you what I went through. And so many people came to me and said, we care about you and we want to help you. I'll never forget that. And I quoted the legendary Dusty Rhodes, and I said, my hand is touching your hand, and the love you gave to me, I will repay you now. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm very fortunate to be able to do a live stream when I want, when I can. And so I'm going to be jumping on that live stream to keep all of my friends out there company, because it's the little things that are most important, especially in days like today. And we'll hang out, we'll chat a bit, we'll chat about fun stuff, inspiring stuff. You'll chat with each other in the chat window on the side. I think that's so awesome to see people having conversations and even taking those chats into email or any of the other Facebook, the other platforms. So you were there for me, and I will repay you now. I'll be there for you. I'll jump on the live stream as often as I can over the next little while. And we're going to get through this. So I hope you and all of your families out there are doing well, keeping healthy, keeping safe, keeping calm, keeping strong. Thanks for watching. Namaste. Nerd mistake.